This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So we talked about the arithmetic operators and the assignment operators. We'll talk about the relational operators. Relational operators. They are also known as comparison operators. Relation operators, they are also known as comparison operators. These operators compare. So these operators will compare the data values. These operators will compare the data values and return either true or false. Return either true or false. So they are basically going to compare the data values and return to true or false. So what are the operators that are there? So you have greater than operator, less than operator, greater than or equal to operator, less than or equal to operator, is equal to operator, and not equal to operator. Okay, so these are the operators that we have for the comparison. Okay, so let's understand them in detail. Let's say I have a is equal to 5, b is equal to 3, c is equal to 5 again. Okay, a is equal to 5, b is equal to 3, c is equal to 5. I am saying a greater than b. Okay. So a greater than b is going to be true because a greater than b is asking a simple question. So what is the simple question that it is asking? Is a greater than b? Okay, so what is the question it is asking? Is a greater than b? Okay, so is a greater than b? So the question is a greater than b? Okay, right. So now the question is yes, a is greater than b. Now, if I am asking is a less than b? Okay, so the question that I am asking is a less than b? Okay, so is a less than b? So the question is like is a less than b? So the answer is going to be false. Okay, so is a less than b? So the answer is going to be false. Okay, so a is less than b, the answer is going to be false. Okay, right. Now, if I am asking a greater than or equal to b, so what is the question I am asking over here? Is a greater than or equal to b? Okay, is a greater than or equal to b? Okay, so the answer would be again uh, true. Why the answer is true? Because a is greater than. Okay, so it may not be equal. It may not be equal, but it is greater than b. Okay, so it is not equal, but it is greater than b. Okay, so that's what the idea is. And then a is greater than or equal to c. Okay, so now here the question is a greater than or equal to c? Is a greater than or equal to c? A may not be greater, a may not be greater, but it is equal. But it is equal. So we are asking a question: is a equal or greater than or equal to c? Greater than or equal to c? The answer is true because it is not greater, but it is equal. Okay, so either it is here it is greater, here it is equal. Okay, so that's the point. And then a less than or equal to b. So now the question is A less than uh, or equal to B? Okay, so is A less than or equal to B? So A less than, it is not lesser, it is not equal. It is not lesser, it is not equal. Okay, so what is the point here? So the point is A greater than, is A less than or equal to B? Is A less than or equal to B? So is it lesser or equal? Okay, so is it lesser or equal? Okay, so in that way you are looking at it. And then A less than or equal to C. So the same question again here. Is A less than or equal to C? Okay, so is A less than or equal to C? The answer is going to be true. So why it is going to be true here? It is going to be true because it is not lesser, but it is equal. Okay, so it is not lesser, but it is equal. Okay, so in that way it is going to be true. Okay, and then I am asking, is A equal to B? So is A equal to B? So the question is A equal to B? Okay, so is A equal to B? So the question is what? Is A equal to B? So is A equal to B? So the answer is going to be false. The answer is going to be false because A is not equal to B. Okay, so A is not equal to B. Now, for example, if I am asking, is A equal to C? Is A equal to C? Is A equal to C? So the answer is going to be true. Okay. So is A equal to C? The answer is going to be true. Okay. Right. And now you are asking A not equal to B. Is A not equal to B? So the question comes like, is A not equal to B? So is A not equal to B? So the answer is going to be true. Okay, so why the answer is true? Because A definitely is not equal to B. Okay. And finally you'll ask, A not equal to C? So again the question is A not equal to C? Okay, so is A not equal to C? So is A not equal to C? So the answer is going to be false because A is equal to C. Okay, so A is equal to C. So in this way, you are going to deal with these operators. So what are these operators basically? So these operators are comparison operators. Okay, so these operators are comparison operators. So they are comparing. Okay, so they are comparing the data values. So they are comparing the data values. Okay, so whenever we say comparing, so this is the way that we compare. Okay, and in Python we can also use it like mathematics. Now for example, I will give a use case where I'll say 10 lies between uh, 5 and 15. 10 lies between 5 and 15. So we are talking about 10 lying between 5 and 15. Okay, so 10 is lying between 5 and 15. Okay, so 10 is lying between 5 and 15. Okay, so 10 lying between 5 and 15. So 10 lying between 5 and 15, what I can say? Suppose if I am saying A is equal to 10, 5 less than or equal to A less than or equal to 15. So now the answer is going to be true. Okay, so in this way you can also use uh, this operator. Okay, so this operator. So that's how we will try to look at. So we'll try to look at the operation. Okay, so whenever we will talk about, okay, so whenever we talk about this uh, Okay, so whenever we are talking about this operation, so you will be looking at this way also. Okay, so you'll be looking at this way also. So this is also possible to have in Python. Okay, so in other languages we cannot use it like this, but in Python we can have the operation used like this also. Okay, so that is how we take up the relational operators. So then we will talk about the logical operators. Logical operators. So what are the logical operators? The operators that will compare the relational expressions. The operators that will compare the relational expressions. That is, compare true and false. Compare true and false. Compare true, false rather. Okay. So compare true, false, and return either true or false. So either return true or false only. Okay. So compare true, false, and will return true, false basically. Okay. So that's the idea of logical operators. So whenever we say logical operators, the operators that will be used for comparing. Okay, so that will be used for comparing true and false. Okay, used for comparing true and false. Okay, so used for comparing true and false, and it will be again returning true or false only. Okay, so again returning true or false only. So here, what are the operators? And, or, not. And or not are the operations. Okay, so and or not are the operations on the logical operators. Okay, so first, before going into the example, so we would like to have a truth table. Truth table for the logical operators. So what do I mean by truth table? So here, let me insert a table. So here I will take relational expression 1, relational expression 2. So here I will say relational expression 1 and relational expression 2, and here I will say relational expression or, and I will say not, so not of relational expression, and here I will say not of relational expression, not of relational expression 2. So here we are having these things. So as I've told you, we will be comparing either true or false. Okay, so here I will say false. Okay, so here first thing I'll say both false. You are comparing both false, or you are comparing false with the true, or you are comparing true with false, and you are comparing true with the true. Okay. So what you are doing basically, so you are comparing both false, you are comparing false and true, you are comparing true, false, and you are comparing true, true. Okay, so that is what you are doing. Now the first comparison is with and and operation. So and operation will return. Okay, I'll write here. So it returns true when both the expressions are true. Okay, so it returns true when both the expressions are true. Okay, then you have something like or. So what does or do here? Okay, or it returns true when any of the expressions are true. Okay, so and will return true if both the expressions are true, otherwise false. Otherwise false. It return true if any of the expression is true, otherwise false. Otherwise false. And about not, so what not will do here? So not, it will return. Okay, so it will return. So it will return true when any of the expression is true. Expression is true when the expression is true, and false when the expression is false. Rather, it returns true when the false. It returns true when the expression is false, and false when the expression is okay. So it will return true for false and false for true. So now what is the point here? Okay, so understand. We will go for true. Okay, so we will go for true when both are true. If one is false, so false, false, so this will be false. And false, true, so this also is false. So true, false, so this also will be false. When both are true, this will be true. Okay. So whenever we are talking about AND operation, right? So whenever we are talking about AND operation, so what we are looking at? So what we are looking at? So we are looking at AND operation. What does AND say? If both are true, I will be true. If both are true, I will be true. If anyone is false, I will be false. Obviously here both are false means, so I will be false. Okay, so like this. Now whenever we are talking about OR operation, so what is OR operation saying? OR operation is saying that it returns true when any of the expressions are true, otherwise false. So now here both are false. Now this is going to be false. If now for example false true, this is going to be true. So this is going to be true, and this is going to be true. Okay. So now what we are looking at? We are looking at OR operation. So what does an OR operation say? So what does an OR operation say? OR operation will say that if at least one is true, I will return true. If at least one is true, I will return true. If at least one is true, I will return true. If both are false, no chance. I'll return false only. Okay. So then not of RE1. So what is not of RE1 here? Opposite of RE1. What is opposite of RE1? Opposite of RE1 is going to be true. Opposite of RE1 is going to be true. Means if this is false, not will be true. If this is false, not will be true. If this is true, not will be false. And this is also false. Okay, and not of RE2. Okay, so not of RE2 in the sense, if this is false, this is going to be true, and this is true, this is going to be false, opposite. So this is false, so it is going to be true. Okay, so if this is true, this is going to be false. So like this, you have a truth table for the logical operators. So logical operators means the operators which will be and, or, and not. So and operation will return true if both of them are true, otherwise false. Or operation will return true if any of the expressions is true, otherwise false. Not operation is like opposite. Okay, so it's like opposite. Okay, so in that way you are looking at the logical operators. Okay, then we will just try to look for some examples. Now let us take the same thing. A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, C is equal to 5 again. Now A greater than or equal to B and A greater than or equal to C. So the AND operation. So what does AND operation say here? A greater than or equal to B. This is going to be true. Okay, this is going to be true. Okay, so it's going to be true. And A greater than or equal to C. It is not greater, but it is equal. So this is also true. If true and true meet, the answer will be true. So the answer will be true. So that is how you are getting the answer. So true. Why true? Because if both are true, I'm going to give the true. I'm going to give the true. Okay. Now, so now next, A greater than or equal to B or A greater than C. So here also, if you see, the answer is true. Why the answer is true again here? So the answer is true because again the same question. So you are having true, this is true, and this is false. A greater than C is false. A greater than C is false. So definitely A greater than C is false means we are not having, okay, so we are we are having A greater than or equal to B is true, A greater than C is false. So if false, what should happen over here? So we should see that it is true or false. Okay, so it is true or false. So the answer is going to be true. Or means any one of them should be true. Okay, in that way it is going on. So and now I will say not of A greater than or equal to B. So actually A greater than B is true. So what is the answer now? So the answer is going to be false. Why like that? Because it is not of true. Not of true. So not of true is going to be false. Okay. Now the same thing we can write using. So we can write using logical operators. So how we can write it using logical operators? So something like A greater than or equal to 5 and A less than or equal to 50. Okay, so the same thing I'm writing this way. Okay, so why I got true over here? So I got true because so A greater than or equal to 5 and A less than or equal to 50. Okay, so what we are talking about? We are talking about, okay, so we are talking about A greater than or equal to 5 and A uh, uh, less than or equal to 5. So instead of writing like this, okay, so in this way you can use the and basically. So and can be used in this way. Okay, so that's how we can deal with the and operation. Okay, so this is how we go further logical operators. Okay, so logical operators. So logical operators means the operators that will give you either true or false, comparing either true or false. Okay, so comparing either true or false. So what we are talking about here, we are talking about the logical operators, and finally we will talk about the miscellaneous operators. So when we talk about the miscellaneous operators, so under the miscellaneous operators, so you have the membership operators. So we have the membership operators as well as uh, membership operators as well as the identity operators. So what are membership operators? Operators. So the operators which will check if a if an element is a member, if an element is a member of a collection. An element is a member of a collection. So the operators which will check whether the element is a member of a collection or not. So what are the operators that are there like this? Okay. So we have in and not in. Okay, so in and not in. Okay, so in and not in. So we have two members. Okay, so we have two operators in and not in. Okay, so in and not in. Okay, so in and not in. So in operator. So what in operator will do? So in operator, it will check whether a, or otherwise I'll say it will return true if a member is a an element is a an element is a member of a collection. An element is a member of a collection. So it will return true if a member is an element of a collection. Now, for example, if I am saying I have a list, let's say I have a list which will contain 5, 8, 9, 6, 3. Okay. Now I will say 9 in LST. So 9 in LST is going to give me a true. So why it is going to give me a true? Because 9 is a member of the list. Okay, so is 9 an element of LST? We are asking a simple question: is 9 an element of LST? Now, for example, I'll ask 7. Is 7 an element of LST? Is 7 an element of LST? So the answer would be 7 in LST. So the answer would be false. So why the answer is false over here? So the answer is false because 7 is not a member of the LST. 7 is not a member of the LST. So in this way, you are looking at, okay, so in this way you are looking at the in operator. And then what is not in? So not in is like opposite. It will return. It will return true. It will return true if an element is not a member of the collection. Not a member of the collection. Now it is something opposite. Okay. How it is opposite? So 9 not in LSD is 9 not an element of LSD. So the answer is going to be false. Why? Because it is the member. It is the member. Okay. So and same thing. 7 not in LSD. So 7 not in LSD. So you are saying it is true. So true. So seven not in industry, you are going to say that is true. Okay, why? Because it is the member. It is the member. As it is a member, so you are saying it is true. So in this way, you are going for the in and not in. So these are membership operators. Okay. So membership operators, and then we will talk about the identity operators. So what are the identity operators? So identity operators, operators that check the identity of the values of the data values and return either true or false. And return either true or false. So the operators are going to be is and is not. Is and is not. So what does is will do and what does is not will do? We will just check. So is return true, return true if the IDs of two elements are same, otherwise false. Okay, so return if the IDs of two elements are same, otherwise false. So generally not very much useful the ID operator, but still we need to understand this. So suppose A is equal to 5, B is equal to 3, and C is equal to 5, same things I am giving. So uh, so A is B. So A is B. So A is B means we are comparing ID. Okay, so now say ID of A. So ID of A and ID of B. So ID of A. So what is ID of A here? Some unique number I will get. Some unique number I will get over here. And ID of B, you will get some unique number. Okay, so unique number. So A is B. Okay. So A is B, so you are going to get false. So what you are going to get here? So you are going to get false. So false means, so you are saying A is B, which is false. Why it is false? It is false because the IDs are not same. These are not same. Now, for example, if I am saying A is C, so A is C, so the answer is true because B, A and C. So idea of C is going to be uh, same because the value is same. Okay. So as you can see here, so the IDs are same. So idea of A is same as idea of C. So that is how you are getting this answer. Okay. So in that way, when the values are matching, the IDs will match. Okay. So that's the point here. Is operator and is not is exactly opposite. Okay. So is not will return true. So return true if the IDs of two elements are not same. So the IDs of two elements are not same. Okay, so return true if the IDs of two elements are not same. Otherwise false. Now same thing we will try to look at with is not as well. A is not B. So A is not B. A is not C. Okay. So again here A is not B. It is going to be true. Why? Because they both are different. And A is not C. You will get false because are definitely. So this is the way that we look at the ID operations. Okay, so ID operations, uh, the ID operations we have. Okay, so, and this is the end of the operators. And the next important thing is we need to go for using these operators. Okay, so next we will be talking about the next important thing here, which is conditional statements. Okay, if logics. Okay, so if logics, uh, so we will be understanding. So what we will be doing is we will be starting it afresh on Monday. Okay, because I want you to just go through all these things. Okay, operators, so just practice on the operators very much. Okay, so once you have good idea on operators, then only we can go for it. So what I will be doing is I will be sending you some tasks on operators. So solve the tasks, and once you solve the task, then only we will be very much into this what do you call if logics. Okay, so by today evening or tomorrow morning I'll be sending you some tasks on operators in the group. So you solve them whole tomorrow and day after, and then on Monday session we will be going for the if logics. Okay, so that will be our next step. Okay, hopefully you understood what I'm saying. So I'll be sending you the task by tonight or by tomorrow morning. Okay, so you need to complete them. Okay. Okay, Srikar, Lakshmi, thank you. Thank you. We will meet again in Monday session. So meanwhile, as I've told you, I will be sending you some tasks. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, both of you.